You know that feeling when the silence in a room is so loud you can practically hear it? Yeah, we tend to think of silence as a good thing, peaceful, a chance to relax. But in a relationship, it can be a whole different story. Sometimes it's not peaceful at all. Sometimes it's a tool, a message, or even a weapon. That's what we're going to get into today.
I mean, think about it. Silence isn't just a lack of sound. It's a vacuum. And our brains hate a vacuum, so we rush to fill it in, usually with our biggest fears and insecurities. It can be full of tension, unspoken anger, or just this cold, hard distance. And that's exactly where its power comes from.
And this, right here, is the most important question you can ask, because not all silence is the same. Is what you're experiencing a calculated, deliberate punishment designed to control you? Because that's the silent treatment. Or is it a total emotional shutdown, where the person is so overwhelmed they've just collapsed? That's stonewalling. They might look the same from the outside, but trust me, they are worlds apart.
So let's start with that first one, the weaponized silence. This is when silence is used actively, like a tool. It's what we call the silent treatment. And this isn't someone just needing a little space to cool off. Oh no. This is a deliberate choice to cut you off.
The key phrase here is refuses to communicate. It's not that they can't talk, it's that they are actively choosing not to. It is the classic definition of passive-aggressive behavior. All the hostility is there, it's just hidden behind this wall of nothing. It's a way to punish you without ever having to raise their voice.
And that's the real goal here. It's all about power. By cutting off communication, the person using the silent treatment basically holds the entire relationship hostage. And now it's on you to fix it, to beg for things to go back to normal, often without even knowing what you supposedly did wrong.
You know, this doesn't always look like some big dramatic standoff with two people sitting in a silent room. It can be way more subtle than that. So let's look at what this actually looks like in day-to-day life.
Do any of these hit a little too close to home? It's those one-word answers that just kill a conversation dead. It's seeing that read receipt on your message followed by absolutely nothing. It's that feeling of talking to a brick wall, or maybe even worse, the feeling of being totally invisible. Every single one of these is an active choice meant to shut you out.
Now, someone might think this is a harmless way to get their point across without actually fighting. But the long-term damage of this kind of silence, it's absolutely devastating, not just for the relationship, but for the person on the receiving end.
Just think it through. If you can never actually talk about a problem, how can you ever solve it? You can't. So that tension just builds and turns into deep resentment. Trust completely falls apart. And over time, being deliberately isolated and made to feel powerless, that isn't like emotional abuse. It is a form of emotional abuse. Full stop.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The research is crystal clear on this. A major study in the Journal of Marriage and Family found a direct, undeniable link between this behavior and relationships ending. It is a documented relationship killer. And on top of the damage to the relationship, there's this really deep personal cost. It's what it does to you. Being on the receiving end of this stuff all the time creates this profound sense of being alone. I mean, you can be sitting right next to your partner and feel like you're on a desert island.
Okay, so if it's so destructive, why on earth do people do it? Well, when we're talking about this silent treatment specifically, there's a reason. From the user's point of view, it works. It gives them a sense of power, and it definitely achieves some short-term goals.
Let's look at it from their twisted perspective. By saying nothing, you can't be accused of yelling or being aggressive, right? You immediately get the upper hand because nothing happens until you decide it happens. And then, the best part for them, when you finally do decide to talk again, you get to look like the good guy, the one who graciously ended the fight. It's a pretty masterful and incredibly toxic form of manipulation.
So understanding the what and the why is one thing, but what do you actually do when you're staring at that wall of silence? Well, there is a way forward, but the path you take completely depends on what you're actually dealing with.
Before you do anything, you have to know what you're up against. If it's the silent treatment, that tool for control, your response needs to be all about setting boundaries. But if it's stonewalling, that emotional shutdown from being overwhelmed, your response has to be about de-escalation and creating safety. If you use the wrong approach, you could make things a whole lot worse.
All right, let's break this down. If you know you're facing the silent treatment, that power play, step one, not taking it personally, is you recognizing it's a manipulation tactic.
Step 2, where you clearly state how you feel, is about setting a firm boundary. Something like, when you stop talking to me, I feel punished, and that's not okay with me. Now, if you suspect it's actually stonewalling, that they're totally flooded with emotion, then step 3, giving them space, is probably your most important first move. Trying to force them to talk will just slam the door shut even harder. And for both situations, having your own support system and maybe even seeking professional help, that's absolutely key to breaking these patterns.
So, in the end, that's the real question you have to ask yourself. Is the silence you're dealing with a weapon of control, or is it a wall built out of complete overwhelm? Because one is an attack and the other is a cry for help. And knowing the difference, well, that's everything.